The rain-slicked driver slipped from Austin's fingers and clattered against the dew-kissed grass, echoing like a gunshot in the empty dawn. He stared at it, chest heaving, as if the club held the ghost of every lie his ex had whispered in the dark. Swing through the pain, he muttered to himself, but the words tasted like ash, and that's when he saw the man emerging from the mist, a silhouette sharpening into focus, club bag slung over one shoulder, eyes locking onto Austin's with an intensity that made the world tilt. Wyatt Kane stepped closer, his stride unhurried, like he owned the fog itself. At 35, he carried the easy confidence of someone who'd stared down storms and come out grinning, his broad shoulders filling out a navy polo that clung just enough to hint at the muscle beneath. Sandy blonde hair cropped short, a faint scar tracing his left eyebrow from some long-ago scrape, and those green eyes, sharp as cut emeralds, seeing too much. "First time out here this early?" Wyatt asked, voice low and warm, laced with that Seattle drawl that turned questions into invitations. Austin straightened, heat creeping up his neck, caught off guard by how the stranger's presence filled the space, chasing away the chill. "Yeah," Austin replied, bending to retrieve the club, his voice rougher than intended. "Needed to clear my head. Booked this lesson on a whim last night. Figured 9 holes might beat staring at my ceiling." He forced a half-smile, but it faltered under Wyatt's gaze, which lingered a beat too long, reading the cracks Austin tried to hide. Wyatt nodded, slinging his bag down with a soft thud. "Smart move. This course, Ridge Valley Greens, it's got a way of unraveling knots you didn't know were there. Name's Wyatt. You're pro for the morning." He extended a hand, calloused from grips and swings, and when Austin shook it, the contact lingered, a spark jumping between them like static on wool. They started on the first tee, the air thick with the scent of wet pine and distant salt from Puget Sound. Austin's swing was all force, no finesse, a wild slice that sent the ball veering into the rough like his life had these past months. Wyatt watched, arms crossed, not judging, just absorbing. "Breathe into it," he said, stepping behind Austin without asking. His hands adjusted Austin's stance, fingers light on hips, breath warm against Austin's ear. "You're fighting the club. Let it lead." Austin's pulse thrummed, the proximity electric, stirring something dormant, dangerous. He swung again, and this time the ball arced true, a clean white streak against the gray sky. "There it is," Wyatt murmured, stepping back, but his eyes held Austin's, a silent promise of more unlearnings to come. As they moved down the fairway, clubs clicking in rhythm, Austin found himself talking, words spilling out like they'd been damned too long. It started small, the tech job in downtown Seattle that paid the bills but sucked the soul, the apartment in Capitol Hill where echoes mocked him now that Jake was gone. He left a note, Austin said, chipping out of the bunker, sand spraying like regret. Said I was too much, too intense, like loving hard is a flaw. The ball plunked into the green, inches from the pin, and Wyatt let out a low whistle. Intense isn't a flaw, it's fuel. Jake sounds like he ran from fire instead of warming to it. His tone was matter of fact, but there was steel beneath, a shared scar Austin could almost taste. Wyatt shared in fragments, his stories woven into pointers on grip and follow-through. Born in a dusty Texas town before his family chased dreams to the Evergreen State, he turned pro young, chasing tours that led nowhere but taught him the swing of solitude. "Golf's like love," he said on the third hole, lining up a putt that dropped smooth as silk. "You line it up perfect, but the green's got slopes you can't see. Roll with M." Austin watched the ball sink, envying the ease, the way Wyatt moved through the world unburdened, or so it seemed. By the fifth, the mist had burned off, sunlight slanting through the cedars, gilding Wyatt's profile as he laughed at Austin's latest shank. The sound wrapped around Austin, thawing edges he'd frozen over. They paused at the clubhouse for water, the wooden deck overlooking the valley where Ridge Valley sprawled like a forgotten promise. Austin leaned on the rail, gulping from a bottle, stealing glances at Wyatt's forearms, veined from years of hauling bags and chasing drives. "Why this gig?" Austin asked, the question bolder than he'd meant. Wyatt capped his bottle, gaze drifting to the horizon. "Pays the rent. And it lets me fix things. People come out here broken, leave a little straighter." His eyes met Austin's again, holding, and in that pause, the air thickened, charged with unspoken wants. Austin's throat tightened. He hadn't felt seen like this since before Jake, before the lies piled up like unread texts. Back on the course, the lesson blurred into something less formal, more like two men wandering a shared dream. Wyatt demonstrated a bunker escape, dropping to one knee in the sand, body coiling like a spring. Austin tried, botching it gloriously, and they both collapsed laughing, shoulders brushing, breaths mingling in the cool air. "You're a natural disaster," Wyatt teased, but his hand steadied Austin's elbow, thumb grazing skin in a way that sent heat pooling low. Austin met his gaze, heart slamming. "Maybe I need a better teacher." The words hung, flirtation veiled as jest, but Wyatt's smile deepened, crinkling the corners of his eyes. "Careful, I might take that as a challenge." By the ninth green, the game's forgotten. They're trading swings and stories, the ball a mere excuse. Austin confessed the raw ache, the way Jake's betrayal had carved him hollow, coming out in whispers during family Thanksgivings that turned to shouts, the closet door slamming shut on pieces of himself. Wyatt listened, nodding, his own past surfacing in echoes. A father who gripped irons tighter than hearts, a brother lost to the bottle, leaving Wyatt to swing for two. "We carry what we can't drop," Wyatt said, sinking the final putt. "But out here, maybe we learn to." As the sun climbed, casting long shadows over the links, Austin realized the fog in his mind had lifted, replaced by a different haze, one of possibility, edged with fear. Wyatt slung his bag, clapping Austin's shoulder. "Same time next week? Mind's clearer now?" Austin nodded, pulse racing. "Yeah, but it's not just the mind anymore." Wyatt's grin was slow, knowing. "Good. That's where the real game starts." They parted at the parking lot, Austin sliding into his beat-up Subaru, glancing back to see Wyatt silhouetted against the clubhouse, waving once. Driving away, Austin's hands trembled on the wheel, not from the swing, but from the man who'd just rewritten his grip on everything. The week dragged like a pulled drive, each day in the fluorescent grind of code and coffee a reminder of the fairway's freedom. Austin replayed moments, Wyatt's laugh echoing off the pines, the brush of knuckles during a club handoff, the way his eyes darkened when Austin mentioned Jake's ghost. By Thursday, Austin's fingers hovered over the booking app, canceling a team happy hour to secure the slot. "Pathetic," he muttered to his reflection in the office bathroom mirror, but the lie dissolved under the memory of that touch. Saturday dawned crisp, the kind of Seattle blue that felt stolen. Austin arrived early, heart thudding as he laced his shoes on the dew-damp bench. Wyatt was already there, stretching against the pro shop wall, tank top revealing the tattoo snaking up his rib, a compass rose, ink faded but fierce. "Eager beaver," Wyatt called, sauntering over, but his eyes lit with something warmer. They teed off without preamble, the rhythm familiar now, bodies sinking like they'd played 100 rounds. Conversation flowed deeper this time, skirting the edges of vulnerability. Austin spoke of his mom, a librarian in a small Maine town who'd mailed rainbow pins after his coming out, her letters a lifeline across miles. "She says love's like books, some chapters hurt, but you turn the page." Wyatt nodded, driving a ball that soared straight and true. "Mine's still on the first chapter. Dad thought golf fixed everything. Didn't fix him walking out." The admission landed soft, Wyatt's jaw tightening as he watched the ball land. Austin wanted to reach out, bridge the gap, but settled for. Sounds like he missed the best shot. On the back nine, the flirtation sharpened. Wyatt corrected Austin's stance again, hands firmer this time, lingering on the small of his back. "Loosen here," he said, voice dropping, breath ghosting Austin's neck. Electricity crackled, Austin's swing faltering into a hook that drew laughter from them both. "Distracted?" Wyatt asked, eyebrow arched. Austin turned, close enough to count the freckles across Wyatt's nose. "Maybe. Blame the teacher." The air hummed, and for a heartbeat, Austin thought Wyatt might close the distance. Lips brushing, a claim staked right there on the green. But Wyatt pulled back, grinning to mask it. Save the trash talk for the 19th hole. They grabbed lunch at the clubhouse grill, burgers and IPAs under the pergola, overlooking the valley where autumn leaves smoldered red and gold. Wyatt's knee bumped Austin's under the table, accidental at first, then not. Stories turned personal. Wyatt stalled pro dreams, the knee injury that sidelined him to teaching, the string of hookups that left him hollow. "Guys want the fantasy, not the follow-through," he said, tracing condensation on his glass. Austin leaned in, voice low. "Maybe they just didn't know how to play your game." Wyatt's gaze held, intense, and when their fingers brushed reaching for fries, neither pulled away. Afternoon waned into golden hour, the course emptying as locals packed up. They lingered on the 18th, Austin lining up a birdie putt, Wyatt crouched behind, whispering odds. The ball rolled, teetered, dropped. Hell yes, Wyatt hooped, pulling Austin into a hug. Arms strong, body solid, scent of citrus and earth enveloping. Austin melted into it, hands fisting Wyatt's shirt, the embrace stretching seconds into eternity. When they broke, foreheads nearly touching, Wyatt's voice was rough. "Your trouble, Harlan." Austin smiled, bold. "Good kind." Wyatt's thumb grazed his jaw. "The best." But as they walked to the lot, Wyatt's phone buzzed, a text that made his face shudder. He silenced it, but the shadow lingered. Austin asked, casual, "Everything good?" Wyatt shrugged. "Old noise. Nothing new." They parted with a promise for next week, but Austin drove home with a knot tightening, wondering what ghosts Wyatt carried, if they'd swing back to haunt them both. Austin's apartment felt smaller that night, walls pressing in with the weight of what-ifs. He paced the kitchen, replaying the hug, the almost kiss, Jake's voice a faint echo warning of repeats. But Wyatt wasn't Jake. No polished lies, just raw edges that fit Austin's own. By Monday, the pull was magnetic. Texts exchanged, Wyatt's dry wit cutting through Austin's long shifts. "Missed your slice already," Wyatt messaged after a photo of a crooked drive. Austin fired back a selfie from his desk. "Ty ask you." "Practicing. Don't flatter yourself." Week 3 dawned with a drizzle that turned the course to velvet. Wyatt waited under the awning, thermos in hand, pouring Austin coffee black as sin. "Fuel for the soul," he said, their fingers brushing in the exchange. The rain held off as they played, swings looser, banter laced with heat. On the 4th, Wyatt stripped to his tank, rain beating on his skin like jewels, and Austin's focus shattered, ball dribbling short. "Eyes up here," Wyatt teased, but his flush betrayed him. They talked dreams then, Wyatt's itch to design courses, Austin's buried sketchbooks of cityscapes that doubled as escape maps. "You ever think of ditching the code for something real?" Wyatt asked, chipping over a hazard. Austin paused, club mid-swing. "Every day? But fear's a hell of a grip." Wyatt's eyes softened. "Then loosen it. With me." The words landed like a perfect drive, straight to Austin's core. Lunch stretched lazy, rain pattering the roof as they shared a booth, knees locked. Wyatt opened up about his ex, Cole, a bar owner in Tacoma who'd promised forever then bailed for a straight-laced life, leaving Wyatt questioning his own swing. "Felt like I wasn't enough," he admitted, voice cracking. Austin covered his hand. "You are. More than." The touch ignited, Wyatt turning his palm up, fingers interlacing. Outside, the downpour thickened, mirroring the storm in Austin's chest, joy tangled with terror. They finished soaked, laughing through it, Wyatt's arm around Austin's waist as they dashed to the pro shop. Inside, drying off, the air shifted. Wyatt toweled Austin's hair, movements tender, then cupped his face. "Austin." The kiss came fierce, lips crashing, tongues tasting rain and want. Austin groaned into it, hands roaming Wyatt's back, pulling him closer. They broke gasping, foreheads pressed. "Been wanting that," Wyatt whispered. Austin grinned, breathless. "Since hole 1. But as they dressed, Wyatt's phone lit again, Cole's name flashing. He declined, but the call came insistent. "Go," Austin said, masking unease. "Handle it." Wyatt hesitated, then nodded, kissing Austin quick. "Next week. Us." Alone in the lot, Austin sat in his car, rain blurring the windshield, heart soaring yet snagged on that name. Cole, like a ball in the rough, waiting to be unearthed. The 4th lesson blurred the line between student and lover, anticipation humming like a taut string. Austin arrived with takeout from a Capitol Hill faux spot, a peace offering for the rain-soaked kiss that replayed in his dreams. Wyatt met him at the edge of the lot, pulling him into the shadows of the pines for a hello that left them both windswept. "Brought fuel," Austin said, holding up the bag. Wyatt's grin was wolfish. "Starving." They picnicked on a blanket near the first tee, steam rising from bowls as stories flowed unchecked. Wyatt confessed the call was Cole begging forgiveness, drunk texts, voicemails thick with regret. "He's poison," Wyatt said, chopsticks pausing. "But part of me wonders if I'm the hazard." Austin set his bowl down, shifting close. "You're not. You're the fairway, steady, true." He kissed Wyatt slow, savoring the spice on his lips, hands tracing the compass tattoo. Wyatt sighed into it, pulling Austin atop him, the blanket rumpling beneath. Play was secondary that day, clubs abandoned midway for a detour to the wooded cart path. Wyatt pressed Austin against a cedar, mouths hungry, shirts rucked up to map skin with fingertips. "God." "Austin," Wyatt breathed, nipping his collarbone. Austin arched, whispering, yours. The world narrowed to breaths and touches, rain a distant drum. But paradise cracked on the turn. A group of weekenders, loud, beer-fueled, ambled the parallel fairway, one shouting slurs at a missed putt that twisted Austin's gut. Faggots can't grip right, the man bellowed, oblivious to the ears nearby. Wyatt froze, jaw locked, while Austin's blood boiled. Ignore it, Wyatt murmured, but Austin stormed over, voice steel. Hey, swing your own game, asshole. The man blinked, group snickering, but backed off under Austin's glare. Back with Wyatt, tension simmered. You didn't have to, Wyatt said, packing clubs. Austin bristled. Yes, I did. Can't let that shit slide. Wyatt's eyes flashed. Sometimes you do. For peace. The word stung. Old wounds reopening. Jake's cowardice in bars, hiding hands under tables. Peace? Or closet? Austin shot back. Wyatt recoiled. That's not fair. Silence stretched, clubs clinking like accusations. They finished cold, parting with a stiff hug. Texts that night were apologies. Wyatt's raw, Austin's guarded. Didn't mean to hit low, Austin wrote. Wyatt replied quick. Missed already. Let's fix it. But the snag lingered, a divot in their smooth roll. By lesson 5, the air crackled with makeup energy. Seattle's skies cleared to a rare sapphire, mirroring Austin's resolve. He arrived with wildflowers from the market, thrusting them at Wyatt like a confession. Truce. Wyatt's laugh was balm, pulling him close for a kiss that erased the week. More than. They played fierce, bets escalating. Loser buys dinner, then favors whispered low. Wyatt won the front, claiming a slow dance at the clubhouse jukebox, body swaying to some old Springsteen track, Austin's head on Wyatt's shoulder, world fading. This, Austin murmured. This is home. Wyatt's arms tightened. Build it with me. But shadows crept. During the back nine, Wyatt's phone stayed silent. No buzzes, but his glances grew distant, like scanning for storms. Austin pressed gentle. Cole again. Wyatt sighed, sinking a long putt. Yeah, showed up at my place last night. Swore he's changed. I told him to swing elsewhere. Austin nodded, but doubt wormed in. Had Wyatt really shut the door? Evening fell soft, them lingering on the green, sharing a flask of bourbon Wyatt pulled from his bag. Stories turned intimate. Austin's first love, a summer fling in Maine that ended in tears and tarps. Wyatt's quiet rebellion, inking that compass after Cole's first betrayal. Point's true, Wyatt said, tracing it. Austin kissed the lines. Like you. As stars pricked the sky, they made love in Wyatt's truck cab, parked in the lot's far corner. Urgent, reverent, bodies speaking what words fumbled. Afterward, tangled in blankets, Austin whispered fears. Don't let him pull you back. Wyatt's fingers stilled. Never. But in the dashboard glow, Austin caught the flicker, a hesitation, small as a shadow. The drive home was quiet triumph, but Austin's mind snagged on that pause. A ball hung on the lip, teetering. Betrayal struck like a snap hook, veering wild on what should have been their pinnacle. Austin had planned it grand. After the lesson, a drive to the sound, blankets and wine under the Olympic silhouette. But Saturday shattered early. He arrived at Ridge Valley to find Wyatt's truck empty, pro shop dark. A text pinged, running late. Meet at hole 1. Waiting, Austin paced, anxiety gnawing. Then voices, Wyatt's low rumble, another man's laugh, too familiar from descriptions. Peering through the trees, Austin saw them. Wyatt and Cole, arms linked casual, Cole's hand on Wyatt's neck, possessive. They kissed, brief, but searing. Before Cole pulled back, words lost to distance. Austin's world tilted, bourbon rising bitter. He confronted on the tee, voice raw. Teaching someone else. Wyatt spun, face paling. Austin, it's not. Cole smirked, stepping forward. Who's this? New pupil. Wyatt shoved him back. Leave. But damage bloomed, Austin's eyes burning. You said never. He dropped his bag, clubs spilling like guts. Liar. Wyatt chased to the lot, grabbing Austin's arm. Listen. He cornered me. Apology turned ugly. I shut it down. Austin yanked free. Kissing shut down. Wyatt deflated. It wasn't. He grabbed, I pushed. Swear. But Austin saw red. Jake's echoes, Cole's smirk. I can't. Not again. He drove off, tires screeching, heart in shreds. Days blurred to fog. Austin called out sick, curled in sheets that smelled of Wyatt, replaying the scene. Texts flooded. Wyatt's pleas, voicemails cracking. Please. Let me fix. Austin deleted, blocked, but ache festered, golf clubs mocking from the corner. Week 6, Austin returned, not for lesson, but closure. Course empty at dusk, he found Wyatt on the ninth, practicing alone, swing mechanical. Austin, Wyatt breathed, dropping club. You came. Tears tracked Austin's cheeks. To end it. Can't trust what's broken. Wyatt knelt, voice breaking. I'm not broken. I chose you. Told Cole for good. Changed locks, everything. He pulled a key from his pocket. House key, etched with their initials. Build with me. For real. Austin wavered, pain clashing hope. Why believe? Because out here, we learn truth, Wyatt said, standing, cupping Austin's face. Slopes, shadows, they're part of the role. But we swing true. The kiss was salt and surrender, Austin yielding, bodies crashing like waves. They walked the course in twilight, hands clasped, confessing fractures. Wyatt admitted fear, Cole's pull a habit, not heart. Austin owned his walls, built from Jake's rubble. Dawn of understanding. Love wasn't perfect drive, but forgiving the slice. Months wove them tighter. Wyatt's course is sketched with Austin's art. Seattle's reigns their rhythm. Betrayal scarred, but compassion mended, freedom in choosing each swing. On their first anniversary, back at Ridge Valley, Austin teed up, Wyatt behind. Together, Wyatt whispered. Austin swung, straight, true. Always. In the end, the course didn't just clear minds. It carved souls, reminding that identity blooms in vulnerability. Truest love the one that rolls with every hazard, emerging compassionate, unbound.